the game, cause see the boxing voice.
Welcome back, everyone, to a whole new episode of The Squared Circle with the Sports Swami, only on ThaBoxingvoice.com. And now, join me on the line. This man here will be fighting January 29th. He's going to be making a big step up as he takes on the wily veteran Christopher Martin. It's going to be a 10-round fight for the WBC silver title here. More importantly, though, it's headlining his own card at the Belasco Theater in Los Angeles, California. I give you once again, he's part of the family business. I give you it's El Camarón himself. I give you Julian Ramirez. Julian, let's start off here with you, Christopher Martin. It's a big fight here coming up for you. How big is it now taking on guys who... Christopher Martin, he's fought for world titles. He's fought against top contenders. How big of a fight is it for you getting a chance at a guy who... He's been there. He's done it. He's fought in main events. How big is it?
Well, it's big for me, fighting right here at home in LA, fighting this guy, Christopher Martin. I think I actually sparred him when I was like 16. I'm pretty sure he doesn't remember me, but I remember him. I know he's a good fighter. I've seen him fight. I studied him before, I knew I was going to fight him. I had seen him fight already. I know he's a good fighter, and I know he's a tough talent.
When you look at tape, or when your team is looking at tape, what fights do you look at? Because some of the guys he faced are much different from your style. I mean, Miguel Mariaga, he's a little bit more raw than you, but he brings more power. Gary Russell is faster than you, but is more of a slick guy. You're in between. You have a guy who brings some power. You have your technique. You're a little bit more rounded. So what fight, when you bring him a tape, do you guys sort of, sit down, analyze, and figure out, okay, well, fighter X did this, so this can help me win the fight?
Well, I don't really look at tape. Like, when I look at fights, I don't like looking at fights with anybody else, because I don't like to hear, this or that from anybody else until after I'm done watching the fight. So when I sit down and I watch a fight, I like watching it by myself, and I look at everything he does right, and his habits, and sometimes people do stuff wrong, and I take a look at that, but I usually take a look at what they do right, and what wins them fights, and I've studied him, and I've seen him fight before. Before I was pro, I've seen him fight, so I know who he is.
Does it help that you sparred together with him? I mean, granted, you were 16 years old, he was a little bit younger, but does that help getting a feel of the kind of power he brings? Because you now know what it's like to get hit by him. Does that help you right off the bat?
Not at all. I mean, I remember sparring him, but I don't remember how hard he hit, or I don't really remember all the details of sparring. I just know I sparred with him, and he was just another sparring partner. Another sparring that day.
Well, all this is going on, as we mentioned before. You're fighting at the Belasco Theater, Los Angeles, California. It's going to be January 29th here. You've been getting a big fan base here. Slowly but surely, you've been growing your fan base. What is that like when you're fighting a guy and the entire crowd is there to see you? It's not there to see anybody else. You're the main attraction. You're the guy bringing the fans, bringing the heat. What is that like for the ego?
It just feels good, knowing that people are cheering for me, and people want me to win, and it's motivation. I go out there, I just feel excited. I get this feeling. I already want to fight, and then when I see people cheering for me, it gives me an extra motivation just to go out there and do better.
Last fight out, break it down for us. What went right, what went wrong, and what do you feel you improved on going forward in your last fight?
My last fight, I messed up my hand in the second round, and I just boxed him. I didn't really get to do much with him. I boxed him. I tried to, hurt him a little bit, but I messed up my left hand, and that was my power hand, so I just boxed him smart. This fight will be completely different, and you'll see a different Julian out there.
When you say you messed up your hand, when did you feel it hurt, and what was the problem in terms of throwing the power shot? Because of Hollywood and all this other crap, people think, oh, it's easy. For the first round, it's going to hurt, then it's going to numb, and then you'll be able to just throw the hand at will. When you hurt that hand, when does it start getting better, if any?
Well, I kind of laid off it a lot. I hit him with the left, and my middle knuckle, it was just, I felt like a little, kind of like a zap on my left hand, and up to my shoulder, and that was that. It was hurting me every time I was hitting him with the left. So I just kept, just slapping the jab out and, fighting him smart.
What is it like when, as you said, your hands hurt? You now have to adjust your game plan. You have to change everything on the fly. What you like to do in terms of using your power shot, you can't do now because you're trying to save the hand. Mentally, how do you survive that, and just not panic?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, as for me, I think I'm just calm in there. I'm always calm in the ring. It wasn't nothing big, I just thought, I mean, I know this guy. He can't outbox me. I'm gonna outbox this guy. So he followed my game plan the whole 10 rounds, and he did what I wanted him to do, and it was an easy win for me.
What is that like when you can beat a guy without your power shot and you just completely, as you said, outclass him? He cannot do anything. He can't touch you. He's not able to rough you up. He can't knock you down. You're taking a guy who, Hugo Partida, might not be the best opponent you'll ever face, but he's 21-5, 2 draws. He's a guy who's beaten some kids, and you, as we saw in the fight, you completely just shut him down. What is that like for you, knowing that you can do that even with a bad hand?
I think a lot of it has to do with being a lefty. I think a lot of fighters don't know how to fight lefties, and I just kept setting them up. As a lefty, stuff lefties do. I just kept setting him up, and he kept falling for it. And every now and then I would rattle I would try to rally up a couple punches, and hopefully I could hurt him. But it wasn't happening. I was getting him a little bit. I ended up just playing it smart and just getting the victory.
Once again, it's going to be January 29th. It'll be Christopher Martin versus this man here for the WBC Silver Championship at the Belasco Theater in Los Angeles, California. Once again, I give you it's El Camarón, Julian Ramirez. We come back. We got a whole lot more here only on The Squared Circle with the Sports Swami, only on ThaBoxingvoice.com.
No other sight in the game could see the